One of the problems with the Alawai has been that the streams that come down into it gradually have had more and more junk put into them. There's runoff from roads, there's runoff from pesticides, there's runoff from these urban areas upstream in which unhealthy things are flowing into the streams and then down into the canal. There was no way to know in the 1920s that there were going to be pesticides. Pesticides didn't exist for the most part. So things like fertilizer runoff and that type of stuff, they hadn't happened yet. So there was no way to anticipate that that was going to occur. And that's one of the reasons that the canal is so polluted, as to what's being washed into it. All of the street drains from Waikiki, again, water that's flowing off the street into a drain and into the canal, that's nasty stuff as well. Not that many years ago, we went through a small-scale environmental disaster in Waikiki, fortunately rather confined, which was that because of excessive heavy rain, the sewer system was damaged. And when the sewer system was damaged in Waikiki, which again has an immense amount of people in it, an immense amount of sewage, the damaged sewage pipes could not accommodate what was happening. There had to be an emergency rerouting of the sewer system into the Alawai Canal, where the raw sewage was just dumped into the canal to flow out into the ocean. And what that required was people to be kept out of the water, not only in the canal where people don't go anyway, but offshore too, where the mouth of the canal is. Dumping sewage into the Alawai Canal is by no means an ideal situation, but it was a stopgap measure. Well, it got a lot of terrible publicity. You know, here's this major resort area and its water is dangerous. You can't go in the water, meaning offshore in the ocean. That is a rather bizarre part of the Alawai Canal story that certainly is not a good mark on any of us here that this was allowed to happen. For Waikiki in general, the changes to the environment, it's not only the Alawai Canal, but it's also the disruption of sand that is particularly unfortunate, because we need a beach there for people to go to. Altering the natural environment sometimes may look like it's productive and good thing to do, but it may have other consequences that you can't tell at the time that you are going to regret later on. Periodically, there's been discussion about building another bridge across the canal. And that bridge, if it was ever to be built, would be built so that it would connect with University Avenue on the Mauka side. And one of the interesting things that's happened every time this subject has come up, because the traffic in Waikiki is very tight sometimes, and the two bridges that exist in Macaulay Street and Kalakaua Avenue can be bottlenecks. If this other bridge was built, in theory that could improve the traffic, but there's always been an objection to the aesthetics of what that would do. And people have objected to the idea of putting another man-made structure across this expanse of the canal, because the canal is scenic without anything interrupting it. So to build something that would interrupt that long uninterrupted vista that the canal offers now is something that people have objected to. And I think that's an interesting point, that people see the canal as an asset in terms of the way it looks, and they don't want to mess with that.